Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here with day 69 of Coffee and MTG with me, Nikachu. Yes, it's day 69. My brother would love to be here today. And let us have yet again another wonderful day of Magic discussion. What we do here is we've got Q&A. You got questions, I've got answers. Oh yeah, I'll let you know what's what, and also provide the hot takes, and also we do Decklist review. If you need clarity, do you got some brew that you need to, it's not working, you want it to do something, you're trying to go for one win, I'll try to help you. Please, we'll submit it. We do Q&A for the first 30 minutes and then Decklist review for the next 30 minutes. So grab your cup of coffee wherever you are in this world, morning, afternoon, or evening. Grab your cup of magic and let's have another wonderful discussion today. What's up, Fish Fam, says Kyoka620. And Gibby420 also here with their coffee. Rugged MTG, good morning. Good morning, Grim Ducky. So many Merfolk 5-0s to talk about today. Oh yeah, if we want to talk about some of the 5-0, there's a lot of 5-0s being published. Merfolk has a nice, steady stream of results coming in. Not entirely sure what is the what's the cause of all of it. I wouldn't say the metagame is all that much different today than it was before. I mean, obviously there are changes, but I would almost assume that the metagame was even more favorable before the bannings, just because there are a lot more Uro decks. But right now, Merfolk is being very successful, so that's some good stuff for us. Good morning, 101 Nick, from the Elf Clan. Yes, we got us tribal players have to stick together because we all have the same like nemesis, like Plague Engineer, board wipes. You know, all that annoying stuff, removal spells. We're all in the same boat. So let's grab a cup of coffee and let's have a great conversation today. And I most certainly need my coffee. I got better sleep last night than the night before, but I still need my coffee. Yeah, so many 5-0s right now, and I don't even think Drakenar's list has been published yet. He got a 5-0 with my Simic Merfolk list, which is good because we're going to play that today when we go into gameplay later on in the afternoon. I got 3-2 on Monday. I got a 4-1 on Wednesday. We're going to go for the 5-0 today. That's yeah. Was it just listed? You're talking about Drakenar, Dogfish, and Joe all have 5-0s. Oh, that's great. That's great. Where would it be? Wizards. Magic the Gathering online deck lists. I wonder if it's this latest one. Hold on, I'll grab this so I can share it. So the easiest way to find a Merfolk list is just Control F. Oh, where's the F? Find and there it is. And just look up like Lord of Atlantis, and it'll just show us every Lord of Atlantis. Drakenar ran my list, did not have enough Cavernous Souls, but is basically the same list. He just ran one less Cavernous Souls for one more island, I believe it was, a snow-covered island. My list only ran 3. So, but basically the same thing. Two Brazen Borrowers, Comena Speaker, Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident. Basically all the lords, and the whole idea of this deck is to play at a very low curve. We have a lot of things to do with 1 mana. Comena Speaker, Dismember, Ether Vial. But Smuggler's Copter actually proved to be like really, really good in this type of deck. And I always thought about Smuggler's Copter in mono blue, but it wasn't until like M. Hayashi got a 5-0 with Smuggler's Copter I thought, yeah, we can jam this in Simic. Why not? And actually, I think it fits the deck very well because we're not playing Master of Waves, so we don't have that extra bit of power. And make no mistake, I don't think Smuggler's Copter has power on defense. I think it's a very bad defensive card. But fortunately, right now the metagame is not in a position that we're getting like swarmed and attacked on the ground very quickly and very early. I think Smuggler's Copter is in good shape to be played in Modern. And Yeah, 3 Chalice of the Void, 4 Force Negation, 2 Relic, 3 Veil of Summer, and 3 Weather the Storm. I actually have a sideboard guide out for this thing. You can find it on Patreon. If you're at the $5 level on Patreon, you have access to it. And also, if you're at the Tier 2 Plus subscriber on Twitch, you would have access to it in the Discord. So, yeah, I'm very happy with this list. It's possible I might change Weather the Storm, because, like, even when I was making the sideboard guide, like, basically, it's in here for burn. Just literally one matchup. But maybe there's another card I could play instead of this. Life is very important because we take a lot of damage with this sort of list. Like, that Waterlogged Grove damage adds up big time. The fetch lands add up big time. The breeding pools add up big time. Yeah, those fetch lands. Dangerous, deadly. Okay, so what other Lord of Atlantises are there here? We got the Dogfish. Dogfish went mono... No, it's not mono blue. Blue-white. Dismember, Force of Negation. So 3 Benthic Biomancer. Not too many. 3 Dismember, 4 Harbinger. Harbinger I actually think is pretty well positioned right now. Harbinger is like... There's a lot of... I think tempo is very important at the moment. You know, being able to bounce a Clothis, being able to bounce a Glory Bringer, even with the Exert on the stack, bouncing Gurmag Anglers, Tarmogoyfs, Death Shadows, big tempo swings. I'm not happy with Brazen Borrower right now because you spend mana to bounce something, but you don't put anything in play. So it's like tempo neutral, but we have it for Ensnaring Bridge, whereas Harbinger of the Tides, more situational, but I think what you gain, you benefit so much when you do actually get to bounce something because you put a permanent on the battlefield and you've tempoed your opponent. Tempoed out your opponent. So I actually think Harbinger is very well positioned. I just didn't know where to put it in my Simic list, and I just prefer the Trickster. But it could very well be better than Trickster right now. There is no Trickster in this list. Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident, Unsettled Mariner. I'm still not thrilled with this card. I do believe that this card is great against Burn and Prowess, but like against the attrition-based decks, I think it's not. I don't think it's going to work the way I want it to. So I'm still not thrilled with Unsettled Mariner. That being said, people have had quite a bit of success. This is not the only list that's gotten a 5-0 with Unsettled Mariner. There's also, you remember the Bant list I made? It was Simic Merfolk, but I splashed Unsettled Mariner in it. Someone went 5-0 twice with that list. Twice. I didn't even know. Someone had to message me, hey, someone went 5-0 with this Bant list. And I'm like, that's my Bant list. They're better at it than I am. So Unsettled Mariner still has some unsettled advantage. So 3 Spreading Seas. And as you all know, I actually like Spreading Seas right now. I think Spreading Seas is very well positioned. Finally, Spreading Seas is back, mostly because the blue decks have disappeared. There's still Stoneblade, but that's like the only big blue deck right now, and it's just a lot of non-blue right now. So Spreading Seas is very well positioned right now. 2 Cavernous Souls, 8 Islands, 3 Mutavault, 3 Steamchrome Coast, 4 Wonderwine Hub. Can't help but feel like this is very few islands, but probably hedging against Blood Moon decks. Force Negation, Spreading Seas, 3 Chalice of the Void. Yeah, good sideboard overall. Well, 2 Mana Leak is a bit weird. You can support like better counter spells, I think. And that's the only 2 lists here. So yeah, congratulations to the Dogfish and Drakenar. Yeah. If you get a 5-0, so Grim Ducky said Merfolk Joe didn't make the list. He got the 5-0 late last night. That's totally true. If you get a 5-0 like the night before that they publish lists, you just will qualify for probably the next publishing. Happens all the time. I get PMs, DMs all the time about this. Like, my list didn't get published. What's up? And I'm like, well, okay, when did you get the 5-0? I got it late last night. And I went, well, they probably made the article like in the evening and to get it ready for the next day. Then you got your 5-0. So you just got to wait for the next one. And that's usually the case. The other reason that you would not get a 5-0 published is if your list is so damn close to another person's list, they're only going to pick one. They try to pick the most unique list between the two. That's why these 5-0s do not depict the actual metagame. There's like 35 different decks going 5-0, but in reality, probably like 7 of these decks are like really common, and each had to beat each other out to get that 5-0 publishing, whereas all the other ones were just like a one of in the meta game, and it just happened to get a 5-0 and it gets published. So you cannot use these publishings to try to understand the diversity of the modern metagame. It's fake. It's completely fake. But however, I do believe that it can. There are clues to the power level of those decks if you can consistently see them week in and week out getting 5-0. So if there's like a fringe deck that keeps going 5-0 every single week, even though barely anyone's playing it, there might be something to that deck. Good morning, Niels Nielsen. Good morning, Magic 720. Oh, I think might have been. Good morning, Mikey J. Hello, Nikachu. How is your day? My day has been a little bit frustrating. Where's... Who am I looking for? I can't remember, but I was basically... I wasted a lot of time this morning trying to create like badges, Twitch badges for people at the tier 2 and tier 3 level. Specifically the tier 3 level. Because I found out someone was at tier 3, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta make them a badge. I'm like, I'm really slow at this. And then I got the badge, but the problem is I had no idea where to put it on Twitch. It's not very intuitive. There's like all different places you can go around on here. So anyway, that was annoying. And then when I found the place, it said I couldn't upload my tier 3 badge because I also had to upload the tier 2 badge, and I didn't have that ready. So I'm like, damn it. But aside from that, everything is good. I'm pretty happy. I'm in good spirits. I'm awake. I hate feeling tired. I'm awake. I'm alert. I hope to crush the metagame this morning. I'm just going to quickly edit the stream info to Magic. We are a Magic the Gathering stream. We answer Magic questions. Yeah, all the Merboys are representing. Good morning, Magic 07. Good morning, Magic. How about Copter and Mono Blue? Absolutely. I mean, that's where do you think I got the idea? M. Hayashi played Copter and Mono Blue and went 5-0. Morning, Niels Nielsen. Good morning, Mitten Monster. Is it? No, it's not. We're not doing just Decklist now. I was just going over the news of Merfolk crushing with some 5-0s. We're getting a lot of 5-0s recently. I can't tell exactly what's going on. Maybe I don't know. I don't know yet what makes Merfolk so well positioned right now, or if it is well positioned. Period. I will say, like, even when I got my 5-0, I did get some good. I'm getting tough matchups, like, but it's not exactly the tier matchups. Like when I went 5-0, I wasn't up against Eldrazi Tron or Jund or Prowess or what's it called? Red Green Ponza. So, but like, you know, right now there's a lot of decks. I will say there is a lot of diversity online. So you end up playing against a whole bunch of stuff. And you know what? I'll take my chances with Merfolk against all that. Why play Dismember over Path and Azorius Merfolk? Great question, because Path to Exile ramps up your opponent. It's actually there's quite a bit of a liability to it than you would think. Another reason that they might have chose that route because they were not running that many white sources. They tried to go really high up on their island count, and they were running Cavernous Soul, so they may not have felt confident enough about playing with Path to Exile in that deck. Path to Exile is a tricky card. It is really overrated, and I think the only decks that can genuinely take advantage of it are those that have enough card advantage to compensate for the card advantage you give your opponent. Giving your opponent a land is not carded. So Path to Exile is not card advantage because the creature goes away, but it's replaced with a land. So you're actually, as the person who's playing Path to Exile, you're the one down a card, and it helps give your opponent a tempo boost because with that mana they can play more spells per turn. So I mean, Path to Exile is a very overrated card, very overrated. Powerful card, but very overrated. You better know what you're doing when you run Path to Exile in your list. No, it's just we're not Decklist reviews. We're still in Q&A, but sometimes if you're going to talk about a particular list in the news in the media, we'll definitely look at it. Set bid 0. Unsettled Mariner is great. Fact that they have to pay when they target you as well slows down things like Walking Ballista and makes Thoughtseize and such more expensive. It does. And I heard from Draconar, who is running Unsettled Mariner. Oh, what is this? He gave me this hilarious story. A hilarious story with Unsettled Mariner. He like wiped out an Elves player because they had Elvish Champion out, and it says it's basically Lord of Atlantis, but for elves, because all other elf creatures get +1/+1 in Forest Walk. So the elves opponent gave the Unsettled Mariner +1/+1 in Forest Walk. And lo and behold, the elf player has a forest, and you could just attack in for the win. Hilarious victory that you can get with Unsettled Mariner. Hilarious, just hilarious. That's a get dunked on moment. Redhead Kid YouTube, what do you think about the rise of Mono Blue Tron? Is it rising? I think it's just in the same. I mean, maybe it is, and I'm not paying attention. But on the other hand, like Mono Blue Tron has always been around. I didn't know that it's more. If it's stronger now more than it ever has been before, but certainly it's a deck that has always been around by the proficient pilots. I imagine it is not an easy deck to play, and that's why there's just very few people playing it, and it's just usually the dedicated players playing it. If it's well positioned, well, whatever, they're playing the Tron lands. It's still a strong deck, but I don't have anything specific to say about it. Given the current metagame conditions. Good morning, TFXD. Good morning, Sirius D. Good morning, Bishark. Good morning, Mandy Cheyennes. Good morning. I trust Meatball as well. Oh, Meatball is doing great. Meatball is doing fantastic. Where's Salute? Oh, Salute is right here. He is sleeping. You know what? He likes it when I talk. When I start talking, he's always here. He's either there or he's hiding underneath his chair. Salute. Say hello to Mandy Shines. Say hello to everybody. Salud. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, salud. Zhao An. Zhao An is good morning in Mandarin. I don't know how much English he knows. He knows the word supper, but I'm not going to say it too loud. It's gonna trigger him into getting hungry. Okay, you say hello. Okay, go back to sleep. No problem bothering him, because like for him going to sleep is like turning like flicking a light switch. Just goes right back to bed. I knew they had emotes for tier 2 and 3. Didn't know they had badges too. Yes, they have badges too. You get a special badge. So the special badges, you know, when you subscribe to me and it shows that like surfing bunny during my gameplay, that's going to be the badge, I think, for tier 3. I don't know what I'm going to have for tier 2. Maybe it's going to be the surfing bunny minus the waves. You got to earn the waves. 101 Nick, yes, salute, squiggly salute. Mikey J says, I don't know if you answered yesterday, my internet died, but is it safe to move Gemstone Caverns from Merfolk Toolbox to the Trade Binder? I know it's very... No, I didn't see this question. That's a tough question. Here's the thing, like the Merfolk Toolbox, you never know when you need it. You never know when you need it. I know Gemstone Caverns was a card that I like rarely played. I played it like once for like a few weeks, and it was best used when I was playing with Smuggler's Copter. So this is like a question I just can't answer. I would say for the most part, like if you need the money and you feel like this is too much sitting in your binder, then you could sell it. I think you could safely sell it. But here's the problem with Gemstone Caverns. The day that we need it, that card is going to be incredibly expensive. That's the problem with these sort of cards. That's the problem with cards like Chalice of the Void. When you don't need it, when no one needs it, the card is like relatively cheap. But then when you need it, it probably also means everyone else needs it, and it'll just skyrocket. That being said, I think Gemstone Caverns is a card that I think could be a target for getting reprinted. Like that card just keeps going up in price. And definitely that, like, Wizards isn't going to let like something like Gemstone Caverns go over $100. So at some point they're going to reprint it. So if you really wanted to put it into a trade binder, I think it would be relatively safe. But, you know, just understand the consequences the day that we may need it. But I would say it's just not, it'd be very rare. You know, I almost never use Gemstone Caverns, to be honest. I know it's a Merfolk card. to have in the toolbox. I have one just in case. That's it. Like, and I've very rarely played it, so you know it's relatively safe. As a super hardcore competitive player, I'm not selling mine. I can't. But let's say you weren't as hardcore as me, it would be safe to put in the trade binder. Chosen says, 2024 Minotaur Tribal will get the 5-0 I wish it deserved. Reprint didgeridoo. Well, if you try hard, if you play with like a bunch of changelings and like one Minotaur, you might be able to call that a Minotaur Tribal deck. It's day 69 of MTG. Yes, nice. Nice, says Magic. Rugged MTG says, in my opinion, the only decks that should really run Path to Exile are the ones that play things like Aven Mind Sensor and Leonin Arbiter. Well, I also think, I think Control can run Path because those decks are also all based around card advantage. So even though they lose on Path to Exile, they win on things like Snapcaster Mage, where they've got Snapcaster Mage, and now it's just a 1-for-1 removal spell, and they like can make up for it with like Teferi Time Raveler, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, Cryptic Command. So they have enough card advantage resources that they can make up for what they lose in Path to Exile. So I think Path to Exile, you just have to make sure that you can compensate for the card disadvantage in some other way. And like, yeah, certainly prison elements like Mind Sensor and Leonin Arbiter are also ways of mitigating the disadvantage of Path to Exile. But, you know, there's more than one list like that. Why is there no Blacktron? What prevents it? There has been Blacktron. There has been green Blacktron before in the past. It played Collective Brutality, if I remember correctly. It played Fatal Push. So it actually has happened. This it's just, I don't know where it is right now. People just prefer to play with Mono Greentron. I will say, like, originally a long time ago, if people remember long enough ago, Tron was originally a red-green deck because they got to take advantage of red cards like what's it called, Pyroclasm, or there are red cards and sweepers that you could take advantage of from Tron. But eventually it moved to just mono green because that was the best way that you could beat a Blood Moon if you were just a mono, because you could very easily run the deck mono green and the red splash wasn't necessary. But back then people did experiment with other splashes. There was green white, there was green black. I think the only splash that I didn't see was green blue. That was the only one. I think green blue is the only Tron variant that I never saw. But green black existed. I got Collective Brutality. I got Fatal Pushed, so it was something. I wouldn't say that probably mono black Tron doesn't exist because, like, what's the advantage? How do you what would be good about it? Basically. But most of the Tron variants at least run green because they want to search for stuff. Maybe people are just grabbing the pieces cheaper now because it all got reprinted in Blue Tron Masters. Hey, that's a good point. So it was mentioned earlier that there was the rise of Blue Tron. A lot of Tron pieces just got reprinted. So hey, why not? Why not run it? Yeah, Green Black Tron was a thing for a bit. It did exist. And maybe it could come back. It's just like a bizarre. No one thought that you could play like something outside mono green or red green Tron until I think it was Tom Ross, who he said he just found the list online. He said, hey, that looks pretty good. And then he top 8'd an event with green, white Tron. And then all of a sudden, you can play other colors in Tron? Yeah, you can. There's a lot of room for that sort of experimentation. I would say it's a bad time to play two colors right now because there is a return to Blood Moon. We do see the return of Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon, thanks to the banning of Arkham's Astrolabe. But probably during Arkham's Astrolabe, well, maybe the problem is Tron just gets beat out by Eldrazi Tron overall. Not head-to-head, but like in general, the Eldrazi Tron variant is just better. So there's a less experimentation in the normal Tron realm. So whatever, that's probably why we don't see as much experimentation with a regular Tron. If a local game store is heavy creature-based, what decks can get easy wins? Heavy creature-based? Like, what kind of creature base? Like, you know, for example, humans is heavy. Like, For example, combo usually beats a lot of creature-based decks, but the problem is, like, humans has a really good like combo plan. They've got Thalia, they got Meddling Mage, they've got Kitesail Freebooter. So I guess the best thing is just like ensnaring bridge decks. Probably Eldrazi Tron beats a lot of creature-based decks. Someone help me. You know what? I don't know what the the problem is. The thing is, there's a lot of creature-based decks that at least have angles against, like, I could say, oh, control beats creature-based decks, but you know what? It doesn't exactly. That's not so clear. Like, I think Merfolk has a really good game against control. It might be just combo. Some sort of combo deck would probably give you your best chance for the most part. Yeah, could be ad nauseum. Could be ad nauseum. It's a good question. The problem is, like, no, I wouldn't want to say like, hey, this category gets beat by this category. It's more like certain decks in this category get beat by certain decks in this category. Some control decks are very good against creature-based decks. Some control decks are very bad against creature-based decks. You know? Living End had built-in wraths. Yeah, true. Oh, maybe, yeah. Dredge actually seems like a good answer. Like, Dredge races basically everything. But then again, Dredge still loses to Graveyard Hate. That everyone can run. Can anyone hear the music outside? They're doing construction outside. I'm not thrilled that I don't mind them listening to music, but like, I'm going to get copyright strikes. I try to monetize these damn videos. I swear I'm going to get something. Something's going to happen. Oh, this is cute. Good morning, Costa. Yeah, grab your cup of magic and your salt. Where did I got lost here. Shock Troopa is being more active with Bluetron again. Okay, that could represent a return of mono Bluetron. Zatwix, what do you think are the most complicated matchups? Is that yeah, F is really close to C. Complicated matchups for Simic. The most complicated? Tough question, because like a lot of my decision making is generally easy. I guess the most complicated matchups might still be like Death Shadow matchups, just calculating the clock for both sides, because as you deal damage to your opponent, you make their Death Shadow bigger, and you got to make sure that you can either have a plan for that Death Shadow, or you still race them anyway. Like, you always have to take into account, what if they have a removal spell here? How does that help or hurt my clock? What if they have Team or Battle Rage? I would say that's pretty complicated. Whereas with mono blue, usually the complication is a lot easier. Like, if you can slam Master of Waves, usually they can't get rid of it and will just win next turn. In addition to that, it can block like a lot of their big creatures, and they demand Team or Battle Rage. So the mono blue versus Death Shadow, a lot easier than Simic versus Death Shadow. Am I all over the place here with the questions? David, good morning, Nikachu. Do you think that Zendikar Rising will be the set that finally blows up Tron? I mean, fuck Urza lands, am I right? What do you mean? Like, they're gonna ban the the Tron lands or something? Do you think that Zendikar Rising will be the set that finally blows up Tron? Oh, you mean like there's gonna be like harsh land hate or something? Probably not. Probably not. I doubt it. Maybe they'll give it like Wasteland. Are we hoping for Wasteland? Wasteland overnight would destroy Tron. Seriously, like, Cloud Post is not that good in Legacy because there's something called Wasteland that is played in lands, in Delver decks, and basically anything. So if like Death and Taxes, if they printed Wasteland in Modern, that would be the instant death of Eldrazi Tron and normal Tron. It would that would do it. That would do it. I don't know what would be a fair way of reprinting Wasteland because there's so many different variations that they've tested with. They've got Ghost Quarter, Tectonic Edge, Field of Ruin. And while Field of Ruin was the closest, I think, to helping beat Tron lands while not being at a disadvantage, it's still not good enough on the draw. Like, it's still not good enough, although it did help control decks a lot, give them game against Tron decks. So anyway, so they would have to print, like, again, another new land hate card. Maybe, I don't know. I doubt they're going to print Wasteland. I think that they want to keep that identity and legacy, but maybe they'll get something in between that is not as strong as what it is for Legacy, but is playable for Modern. Niels Nielsen, do you like the Modern meta right now? By the way, I love all the different decks. Yes, I love the Modern meta right now. I love the Modern meta no matter what it is. I think the only time I ever complained about the Modern meta was when, like, Lantern Control was one of the best decks, and I would play against it like at least once per league. I mean, that was frustrating. It felt like I can only go for 4-1 because I would relentlessly lose to Lantern Control. Such a bullshit time period. Such bullshit. Do you think Miscast is playable? I don't even know what that card. Actually, I should know. Miscast sounds very familiar. Well, it's not. Oh, it's called Miscast. Oh, now I know what this is. Yeah, I keep calling it Miscast. No, for the most part. I mean, like, is it playable? Sure. I don't know what. Like, I don't know what deck desperately needs this because, well, all it is a slightly. It's a more narrow Spell Pierce, which is not good. Because Spell Pierce hits instant sorceries, artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers. Like, do you really need the 1 more mana? And make no mistake, I think the 1 more mana matters. But I think if you reach for Miscast, you probably should just play Dispel and screw the sorceries. Like, if you're gonna play a really narrow card like this, you might as well just play Dispel. Just say, okay, let's get to the most narrow, but guaranteed to counter the spell 100% of the time. Because otherwise, you might as well just play Spell Pierce. And make no mistake, this tax is not that high. That's why I'm not in love with Spell Pierce right now. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. But it hits everything. That's way more important. The ability to hit the artifacts and the planeswalkers is a big deal. So I would rather play with Spell Pierce over Miscast. What's up, Mint Monsters? When Monster CC was running 3 mainboard Spell Pierce build, Pierce was actually really clutch, saved my bacon a couple times. With no doubt, Spell Pierce still is a very strong card, but I would definitely play it over Miscast. See. Remember, if you have any questions, give me the @Nikachu MTG. Also, you can give me 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. I think it's time to take a delicious sip of coffee. What's Coffee and MTG without actually drinking coffee? One deck says E-Tron plays Dismember, so it's basically a mono black Tron deck. Betamax says Betamax says, Nikachu and Fish Fam, first, good morning, and happy Friday. I posted about a great resource for Modern specific content yesterday, Modern Nexus. If you haven't heard of it, you really should check it out. The writers post 2 long-form articles on Modern's meta, innovation, and general musings, all backed up by great statistics. Let's go check out. I have heard of Modern Nexus, but there's like a lot of, or let's see if I have. I'm pretty sure I heard of modernnexus.com. There's just so much content out there. Maybe I have not. Have I heard of this place? Modern Nexus, top. Is this the place with the top decks? Beginners, Brewing, Finance, Tier 0 strategies, Tier 1. Tier 1 represents the most played strategies in Modern. You are likely to play against such a deck in a tournament. So how do they get there? So my question is, what data did they pull this from? Like, where do they get their data? Because the problem is if they take it from the 5 zeros, then their data is useless. And that's more or less what MTG Goldfish does. They've got like so much tampered 5-0 data that it's not the most reliable to talk about overall meta percentages. I don't mind them calling it like overall publishings, but that would be the more accurate thing. But they seem to have like, what do they got? They got, let's go back to the home. They got a lot of stuff here. Finance. What do you got for finance? Give me your finance. One next says this is just MTG top 8 data. Best way to know the meta is to play. That is definitely one. Playing, it does help. When you play, when you're in the trenches, it helps a lot. No doubt about it. I can't seem to access the finance part. Let's go to home. Can I go home? I think the website's running a bit slow. Did we all jump on Modern Nexus at once? Maybe we all jumped on Modern Nexus at once. Whatever. With that much stuff, it looks like a very interesting website. What I really like in a website is if you can publish deck lists to them, and like most sites do that, so they should at least have that available. I really enjoy that aspect to a lot of I really enjoy that aspect of a lot of websites. So anyway, we've hit more than the halfway point. So, all right. So if you have any deck lists you want reviewed, you need clarity, let me know in the chat, and we will pull them at random. Good old random.org is going to save us. It's deck list review time. Deck list review time. Deck list. Da-na-da-na. Da-na-da-na. Okay, I'm going to stop. Price is Right is going to copyright strike me. They're lethal about that stuff. They do not fuck around when it comes to you can sing a song or sing a tune in your YouTube video and they will copyright strike you. You'll be surprised what they'll nail you on. So what do we got? We've got what, just 2 lists today? That's it? If you need some clarity, if you want your deck list reviewed, let me know in the chat right now. Let me know in the chat. Let's let's rev up those links. Ugly Hoodrad is putting something in contention. So as we wait for the links, I guess I can answer some questions. Do you think Grixis Wurza is still a viable strategy after the Astrolabe ban? Probably, but people have to like play it. And probably it's probably not too bad of a time to start right now, because I think enough time has passed that like I'm not even paying attention to Urza anymore. Like my sideboard decisions, my deck building has no Urza in mind. So right now, and I think a lot of other players are in the same boat. So if you are like if a deck had a banning, it really sucks because every deck is still built to beat you, because they still have their sideboard cards and they're 75 built to beat like Urza. But if Urza disappears, then eventually the people who had their 75 built to beat Urza change it away, and now might be a really good time for the Urza to come back, or like some sort of Urza deck. But they have to come back. It happened with Amulet Titan. Amulet Titan got, what's it called? Once Upon a Time banned, then Amulet Titan just disappeared overnight, even though it was a really big piece of the metagame. And then after a month, it came back. It just came back. Is it worth to play Damping Matrix in sideboard by blocking your Vial? Yes, because in the matchups where you play it, you just win the game. So, I mean, sometimes not, but basically it almost always wins. It wins the game pretty often against Goblins. It wins the game very often against Hardened Scales Affinity. Wins the game very often against Devoted Devastation. So basically, even once this card resolves, you win. That's the point. Okay, your Vial doesn't work anymore, but you must have at least 3 mana if you could cast that Damping Matrix in the first place. All right, we've got a good chunk of submissions. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 submissions. Great. So we know how we do it here. Random, so that anyone who has lag has still a chance to be a part of deck list review. Not going to discriminate. All right. discriminate on the people. By discriminate, I mean like choose people who have fast internet. By the way, I think you can just refresh the page so that you don't fall behind. I understand some people, they end up like I can tell over time they lose more and more time because when I say something, they start making posts with enormous lag. All right, so we got chosen. Copy of Red Trash for Hulk, a modern list. What the hell is this all about? Oh, you got Bomac Courier. Oh, can we see the cards? That sucks. Okay, Bomac Courier, hollow one. So this is a way Scryfall is beautiful. I love Scryfall for everything, but they're what if I zoom out? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we can see things, okay. At what point do we need to stop seeing things? Probably here. This is the breaking point. All right, great. Bomac Courier. Haste. When Bomac Courier attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. Discard your hand, sacrifice Bomac Courier. Put all cards exiled with Bomac Courier into their owner's hands. Hollow one. Combustible Gear Hulk. Interesting. I don't even know what this card does. I mean, this card barely sees play. When Gear Hulk enters the battlefield, target opponent may have... Hold on. This was the fourth one? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Apparently, I'm not sharp in my brain right now. But for some reason, did I actually count to the fourth person? Let's see. So, like, what's the plan here? So you got this. This is like really clunky. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then Combustible Gear Hulk deals damage to that player equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards. Well, that sucks. A lot of your deck has like dinky stuff. Oh, but you want to sculpt the top of your deck with Lantern of Insight? Well, okay. So you called this deck a pile. Where is it? Copy of Red Trash for Hulk. Codex Shredder. So you have a Platinum Angel. Not in love with Platinum Angel. I mean, if it survives Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt, but there's a lot of removal spells for Platinum Angel. Not to mention there's a lot of artifact removal spells. But I mean, a pretty good card for Combustible Gear Hulk. Codex Shredder. So how do you get this much mana? Thrill of Possibility. Burning Inquiry. Cathartic Reunion. Tormenting Voice. Trash for Treasure. 20 Mountains. You know, okay, so first off, if you're going to build a deck around Combustible Gear Hulk, you should have 4 of them. Just letting you know right now. And also, you should probably have more expensive cards in your deck. You don't have enough expensive cards to get a payoff with Combustible Gear Hulk. And given that you play with like Cathartic Reunion and Burning Inquiry and Tormenting Voice, you can like, and Trash for Treasure. Oh, you sacrifice an artifact for this? Okay, whatever. Tormenting Voice. You have the ability to discard your most expensive cards. These cards are not worth it. You have to remove them. They're just pathetic. This has nothing to do with the deck. Okay, what do you guys think of the what do you guys think of the deck? Mana base should have Darksteel Citadel, right? Probably. Okay, chat, what do you think? Does Mystic Subdual have potential? I don't know what that is. Or Subdual? No. Oh, but loses all abilities? Maybe. That's Flash. That's interesting. But this has nothing to do with the deck at the moment. We're not... Q&A is over. But my answer is maybe. You know, I'm a little bit more open to those stupid enchantment removal spells than I have been in the past. So, yeah, but if you run Madcap, you can immediately run into, like, Bomac Courier or Hollow One. So this is definitely not going to be a Madcap deck. So if anyone doesn't know what Madcap is, there's a card called Madcap Experiments, where Madcap Experiments reveal the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. So the idea is you have like Platinum Angel in your deck, but you have too many artifacts in this deck for Madcap. So that's just not what it's going to do. So here's my suggestion. You got to remove Codex Shredder and Lantern of Insight. And I tell you what, maybe run the Tron lands. Play a red colorless deck. You require very few red mana sources. I mean, maybe Combustible Gearhulk is the one that requires the most mana. But for the most part, it's just very. I guess what you want to do also is you're trying to, with Trash for Treasure, you're trying to return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, hold on. Trash for Treasure has additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact. So what, you try to dump the Platinum Angel? Again, okay, so Trash for Treasure, not too bad, but you need more payoffs. There's not enough payoffs in this deck. And I think between Cathartic Reunion, Burning Inquiry, and Tormenting Voice, that's enough stuff to get into your graveyard. Screw the Codex Shredder, screw the Lantern of Insight. This is useless. What's Pia's Revolution? Whenever a non-token artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has... That's not too bad. That's a pretty cool card. Okay, so I don't know about the Tron lands, like I said. Maybe that's not necessary. So the real thing is between Codex Shredder and Lantern of Insight, maybe have more larger threats so that you can get a really good payoff with Combustible Gearhulk. For sure, add a fourth. Maybe Goblin Engineer. Maybe. That's a possibility. And definitely put... And you probably need more mana, right? 20 Mountains doesn't look like a lot. So maybe you're actually going to replace these with more mana sources. Because I know you can Burning Inquiry and stuff like that, but still you're discarding cards. You probably need more mountains. And there's got to be better lands than Mountain. Mountain can't be the only thing that you can play in. You know, there's something wrong in the year of 2020 when you just have mountains. Like, there's like what's the Throne of Eldraine mountain that we got? I mean, at the very least, you can play that. Like, what are you afraid of? Getting Blood Mooned? You're a mountain deck. Who cares? Castle Embereth is free. Is it Embereth or EA? Just put Castle M. Oh, Embereth. Yeah, this is a free card in your deck. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Anyway, that's my suggestion. Remove these cards, put bigger creatures in, and a little bit more mana. Change your mana. Puts Darksteel Citadel in there. Darksteel is like basically almost a free card for you. Oh, I shouldn't put that. Darksteel Citadel is just an indestructible land, and it's still an artifact if it gets Blood Moon, but the point is you can sacrifice it for trash, for treasure. You can just sacrifice any artifact. And apparently if it gets destroyed, you could like return it with Pia's Revolution. Anyway, neat deck. I maybe have more chunkier cards to have a good payoff. And I don't think you have to worry about too much because you can always discard it with these other spells. So anyway, interesting list. Unique list. Very unique list. I haven't seen anything like this on this channel. Cool list. Thanks for sharing. Right here with Coffee and MTG, we are now doing deck list review. Oh, by the way, I got sponsors. I totally forgot about that. So we're going to thank our sponsors, themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. They have podcasts on Commander. They got Pioneer. They have Limited. They have Standard, Modern content. It's your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And Mana Traders. Does any one of these lists perk your interest? Well, you don't need to buy into it. You can try it out by renting the cards. Mana Traders is the premier place to rent cards online, and you can support the channel by renting from them with my link in the description below, or you can use my coupon code Nikachu to get 20% off your first 3 months. We're going to thank Mana Traders for being our sponsor. Sweet, sweet stuff. Oh, is Ichor Wellspring too cute here? Not necessarily. Actually, that's a pretty good card. That's actually a pretty good card because you can also... let's get... Oh, do we still have that list here? Ichor Wellspring would actually be a very interesting card because if you can sacrifice it with Trash for Treasure, and you can also return it back to your hand with Pia's Revolution because it hits the graveyard. Pia's Revolution says if an artifact goes to the graveyard, you can return it back to your hand unless the opponent gets dealt 3 damage. But the problem with these cards is your opponent will always will have the choice, and they'll choose right, or they'll choose what's in their best interest most of the time. So if they want to pay the life, they'll pay the life. All right, so let's look at the number of lists. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got 7 lists. Random.org. True. What did I say? We had 7? What did I say, people? I can't remember what I just said. Did I say I have 6, 7, 8? I think I said 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have 7. Thank you very much. I have the memory of a fish, it seems. 7. Good luck, everyone. Boom. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, and I skip people who already chosen. 4, 5. 101, Nick. What is this, a joke? Okay, so I'd be interested to hear how you'd update your Vile Elf list for the current meta. Okay, so a long time ago, I made a Vile list. I don't even know what this list looks like anymore. Oh, would I not copy this? Hold on. Copy. TheManaBase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. So this is my... I made a mono green Vile Elf deck. So can we zoom in on this a little bit? Damn it, we can't actually see the cards. I don't know exactly what I would update here. Especially since I didn't... what's it called? I didn't play test it enough at the time. Elvish Visionary was okay. Wildborn, what was Wildborn Preserver? That was like the flash creature, right? This is a very interesting card. Oh, look at that. I clicked. It's my favorite local game store, Fusion Gaming Online. I clicked one of the cards and it took me right here. What a coincidence. Fusion Gaming Online, my favorite local game store. Anyway, Wildborn Preserver is a 2-mana flash reach creature. Whenever another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay X, and when you do, it gets X +1/+1 counters. It still looks like an okay creature, but like, anyway, I can't tell if it's it was like a card I wasn't sure about. Ren's Run Vanquisher I knew was like a pretty good card. This is the 3/3 Death Touch creature for 2 mana, so you can surprise a lot of people in combat when you Vile this thing in. Very, very strong card. I'm not sure what I changed, though. Well, Veil of Summer for sure is still in here. Relic, Damping Sphere. Okay, maybe... Okay, we still have Damping Sphere, but I'd probably add cards like either Damping Matrix or... Because I don't think I have any ET... Aside from Elvish Visionary, I don't think I have any ETB effects, so I could play with Torpor Orb in this deck. Pretty sure. Collected Company Dismember. So that might be the only like significant changes I would think I think I would do. But aside from that, I have to like... I wasn't super impressed with this card. Like, it's okay, but it's not a very blue metagame, and I think I want to be more proactive than to play with Wildborn Preserver. So there might be a better elf out there. There are a lot of elves out there. Anyway, I don't have, without actually playing the deck, I can't remember how much I would want to improve for today's metagame. But, you know, thanks for asking. And if anyone wants to, you know, try. If anyone wants to try something new, play Vile Elves. Vile Elves could be a thing. Okay, I think Balada has also entered the contest for getting selected. So we'll keep it at 7. 3. 1, 2, 3. Ugly Hood Rat, Merfolk Tribal. And I think this is historic. Okay. Everything will load in a second. So we have very few 1-drops. Like, why have 1-drops at all? I think you should at least have 4 Comena Speaker. Lazotep Plating. It's basically a way of protecting your creatures, and you actually get quite a bit of value out of the Lazotep Plating because you get you and permanents you control gain hexproof, but you also get a zombie out of it. So actually, it's not a bad card. Heroic Intervention. I think you have too many of these cards in the main deck. Like, some of these have to go on the sideboard. Silvergill Adapt. 2 Silvergill Adapts? What is this? Rivered Herald's Boon. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target Merfolk. I do not like pump spells, period, in constructed play. They're way too easy to interact with. I mean, I understand you have 2 targets, so you might not get completely blown out. Yeah, this is a historic deck, Iron Blood. It's a historic deck. So I'm very no on this card. So Neoform, okay, you got to show me the payoff. It's got to be a good payoff because this is another 2-for-1. So if the payoff is good enough, maybe I can buy it. Merfolk Skydiver, not a bad card. 2 mana, 2/2 flyer that can proliferate in the later portions of the game. Not bad. Merfolk Mistbinder. Now, now here's the deal. You've positioned your deck to not really utilize Merfolk Mistbinder very well. You have very few 1-drops. You've got a lot of protection. You've got Rivered Herald's Boon. You very quickly I can see that this deck is not built for lords, but you have the 4 lords, so you should have a little bit more on the earlier portions of the game. And you have 1-ofs for Kumena, Tyrant of Erazka. So I guess you have just Neoform targets to find. Kopala, Zagana. When it enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, I'll draw a card. You will very rarely have this. I think you want to enable it with this. You might as well enable it with something like Benthic Biomancer. Actually, you have it with Skydiver. That's really good synergy there. So that's not too bad. And you have Adapt 4. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has Trample. Honestly, I'm not impressed with this card. If you're going to Neoform into it, this I think is just overall is not. I mean, okay, you draw if you have a counter on a creature, you draw a card. That's not too bad. You at least get back the card that you lost from Neoform, but it's quite a bit of tempo to get yourself here. And then you have Rolesk Apex Hybrid, which is a human mutant, flying trample, as if something with flying needs trample. When Rolesk Apex Hybrid enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. When Rolesk dies, proliferate, then proliferate again. There's a battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. I'm not in love with this card either. I don't really like your Neoform targets. I think you should be more ambitious. Maybe there isn't anything else to get, though. And it's only 2, right? Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the creature's converted mana cost. So how do you get to this one? Is the idea to go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5? That's a bit janky to me. That's too janky. So honestly, I think you should just replace. I don't like Deeproot Elite, but I think Deeproot Elite is infinitely better than the River Herald's Boon because you're just spending mana anyway to put +1/+1 counters on things. You might as well just play with what's it called? Deeproot Elite. If you want some protection from your creatures, it's not too bad. Anyway, I think it's a pretty janky way of going about the deck. I would look for. Okay, so again, I could buy because you draw a card when she enters the battlefield, but I can't really buy this card. Very hard for you to Neoform it into play. I would suggest look up better things to Neoform from 3 mana. And honestly, you don't even want to Neoform away your Merfolk Mistbinder most of the time, I don't think. Or your Mararegery. So you're sinking a lot of mana and your tempo into this card. So you need, I think, bigger bombs at 3 mana and 4 mana. I would look for them. Lazotep Plating, I can get behind. Heroic Intervention, I think, should be more of a sideboard card. So anyway, but to help you, I think, best with your list, replace River Herald's Boon with Deeproot Elite. I think that would be the best way to do it. Well, what's your lands like? Your lands look fine. Temple of Mystery. You don't have many 1-drops, so it's okay. It's a land that comes into play tapped and you scry. Do you have enough islands and forests for these cards? You have 8. So on 7. Oh, but you have Fable Passage. That might work. Okay, so you probably have enough. These are weird sideboard cards. Like, I think Commander Speaker should be in your main deck. I think Silvergill Adept should be in your main deck. I think the things like Heroic Intervention should be in the sideboard. Like, in general, you want to be proactive game 1, unless you know that this card is good against every single deck in Historic, which I don't know, may or may not be the case. I don't know what you replace with these cards, but I think you should have better Neoform targets. Otherwise, Neoform is not worth it. This is not worth Neoforming into. I'll tell you that right now. You put 2+1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. Whoopee. And if it dies, you proliferate twice. Not worth it. I know the Silvergill Adept's in the sideboard. I've done that before, so I'm not a hater against it. But anyway, if you're gonna play Neoform, look for better things to Neoform into, like real bombs. Like, if you're gonna fill 4 slots here with Neoform, you better have something like really awesome to get at. And I would definitely focus more on the 4 mana slot and the 3 mana slot, because you have more 2 mana creatures than anything else. And it's not a bad idea to like Neoform away your Deep-Root Elite after you've gotten some value out of it. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope I guide you in the right direction. Thanks for submitting the list. All right, we can do another one here. Random.org. I'm assuming we lost one person. Random. True Fairness. True Justice. Number 5. So I can just go one from the bottom. Shadow Walker. Shadow Walker has arrived. Something to do with Winoless Winota. You have my curiosity. You now have my attention. Repost of the list, white-red list from last week, because I need advice on a Goblin Instigator versus Forbidden Friendship. Okay. So we've got, I think I remember this list. This is a red-white list. Basri's Solidarity. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Is that important? For Forbidden Friendship, create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1. Well, you get like 2 creatures out of it. Light up the stage, Spectacle, Justice Strike, Lightning. Oh, it's just red-white tokens. I can get behind that. I can get behind all this. What's the format? Shadow Walker, what's the format? Forbidden Dino? Or Forbidden Friendship? It's a pretty cool art. Look at that haircut in that art. That looks like, I don't know, a haircut from the year 2020, in my opinion. This is historic? Okay. Just want to know. So you want advice between Goblin Instigator versus Forbidden Friendship. So this is Forbidden Friendship. Create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. And you're wondering between this and Goblin Instigator. Goblin Instigator is whenever it dies, you get a token, if I understand correctly. No, whenever a Goblin Instigator enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token. Create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Forbidden Friend. Oh, hold on. Is this what you're talking about? And Forbidden Friendship? Forbidden Friendship seems superior because one of the tokens has haste, so you can immediately attack and then use light up the stage. Goblin Instigator is the same thing. You get 2 creatures on the battlefield, but one of them doesn't have haste. If Goblin Instigator, if it was that Echo one, and when it dies, it puts a goblin onto the battlefield, I would like that one more, so that you can chump block it if you're in a racing situation, and then if it dies, you still get a token. But I think I think Forbidden Friendship is superior. I think this is a lot better. Is there any like anti-synergy around with it? Like, where's your Glorious Anthem? It's just creatures you control get +1/+1. Legion's Landing, Prison Realm, Seal Away. I'm surprised you don't have more Glorious Anthems. Raise the Alarm, Lightning Strike. Or maybe your Basri Solidarity acts like an anthem, basically. And also, you can use, like, this sees modern play. What's the Loxodon? I know you're just asking about the one card, but where is the white Loxodon? Yeah, Venerated Loxodon. Apparently this is like really good. So like you can ramp into this 4/4 creature. And basically every token deck has played this. I don't know if this is what you've been looking at. But hold on, what else is in this deck? You said it's Winota, List Winota, Aurelia, Beginning of Combat, and then Legion Warboss. Like, I might like Venerated Loxodon more than the Glorious Anthem because it's basically going to pump everything up, basically permanently, and you ramp into a 4/4 creature. But I'm not sure. And then you have, for sideboard, you've got Chandra, Fry, Gideon, Blackblade, Grafdigger's Cage, Ixalan's Binding. Make a stand. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Card doesn't look that great to me. But I guess, I don't know, if you need to protect yourself against a sweeper, maybe it's better than I think. Settle the Wreckage and hijack Legion's Landing. Anyway, so if you aside from that, I mean, I think it's a cool tokens list. I think it's totally fair. It's totally fine. And Forbidden Friendship, definitely better. Definitely better than the Goblin. Which Goblin we were talking about? Goblin Instigator. So anyway, good luck. Good luck in Historic. And hope that was helpful. I hope that was valuable to you. So that's going to be it for today for the deck lists. If you're watching live, we're going to go directly into gameplay. So don't change that Twitch channel. But for everyone watching on the replay, that is going to be our Coffee and MTG today. We had some great discussions and great deck lists that were submitted. I really enjoy looking at all these very creative builds that people have for us. And yeah, great discussion, great ideas, great creativity. Someone's going to take one of these lists and make it like into... Someone's going to look at one of these lists one day and then like get a 5-0 online or something like that, because there's a lot of unique stuff going on over here. And it's just a matter of time, in my opinion. And that's why I hope that I can help you take it to the next level. Make it... I don't know where the weaknesses are in these decks all the time because I don't actually play with them. And that's the best way of actually knowing, what the deck actually needs. But from the surface, I can see, where they're lacking in terms of mana or in terms of creature density. I hope I can move you in the right direction. I hope I've moved a lot of people in the right direction. So, yeah, the smells of 5-0 today. So, thank you very much, everyone who joined me today. And this has been Nikachu for Coffee and MTG, and I will see you all at the next cup. Take care, and see you next time.